Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett, and today I'm going to be doing a video on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. In this video we're going to be looking at the camera work, how to control the camera, like how do you get shots like this, and how to basically quickly jump around and do things. One big thing to note is I am using a mouse keyboard plus a Xbox controller. Obviously if you got HOTAS, things can be slightly different, but just taking a look into it real quick. If we go into the controls, you can see the actual key bindings and all the other stuff at this location under camera or whatever system you use, so feel free to check that out. I'm not really going to babysit you on that part, what button does what, because you can quickly reference that guide and figure that out. It's important for me to point in that direction because in case you do change any of the key bindings at any other point, you just need to know where to quickly look at it and go from there. So from there, as far as that goes, if we go to the top thing and go to what we call camera, we can see that we got three different camera views. We have the cockpit, external, and showcase. So the cockpit is very simple. Basically, it's interior cockpit, very simple, easy to understand. Now, as far as this goes, we have a fixed camera and also a free camera. On here, I tend to use my mouse to look around because chances are you're going to be clicking buttons and whatnot with your mouse anyways. So note that, use your mouse wheel to scroll up and down and whatnot. But with that in mind, we have the upper position regular, and the only difference between that is, if you want one to sit up so you can actually see the runway easier, stuff like that. Smart camera, which basically focuses at a spot. I don't like it. You got manual and auto zoom types, so some weird stuff like that. I honestly prefer manual. And speed, so looking around and momentum, it's very straightforward stuff. One thing that you might want to note is there is quick views, and this could be done on key bindings and certain other things. And how this basically works is, let's say for example you often look at a certain area, you can quickly hit the hotkeys to look at whatever instrument panel and go from there. But honestly, I don't use that much. Some people do, some people don't, but you might find that interesting. And note that you can change these up. If you go into the controls, you can actually see how to do all that. The all this other stuff, it's very straightforward. You can, on your keyboard, move left, right, if you want, by using the arrow keys on your keyboard. So just note that you have that ability also. If we go to external, one thing I want to point out with here, with the external and also showcase, is it saves the location you left the camera. And if you have for showcase the drone to follow, it's always going to be at that position based on the plane itself. Whereas if you have the follow mode off, then as the plane moves, the thing won't follow it. It's like a panning shot, so you can make it look like that someone's on the ground filming the plane going across the sky. Basic stuff like that. Oh, and something to note real quick that I almost forgot. You can do active pause. In case you don't know the key bind for that, that's the pause key on your keyboard, and that pauses your plane from moving, but it's still active as far as all the stuff. So note that alarms will go off, all the other stuff. Even if it's fine now, you might want to just have it level, the plane level, or on the ground as you saw, but level, and everything good there. Otherwise, you might see or hear a bunch of alarms and stuff if you're close to the plane. If you get further away from the plane, you don't hear that, which is fine. But that's just something that you may want to note, that the plane is still active, even if it's in active pause, and also obviously in showcase. So taking a look at the external mode, we have a smart cam, which again focuses, is pretty much all about the same. You got quick views and stuff like that. And showcase, one thing I want to note with the showcase is it may have problems at some point. What I found is sometimes it can actually go and control the plane itself. I highly recommend, before you go off and do whatever with showcase, make sure it's not controlling the plane, make sure it's not turning the plane, do basic tests like that. But assuming that works, great. If it doesn't, what I found to be a easy thing is go to free camera and go drum, and that tends to fix the problem right there. Now, as far as that goes, you got drum focus and all the other stuff. It beautifies the stuff, I guess you'll say. But if we take a look at this, like right here, we can blur out things in the background. If we slow this thing massively down, like say for example, I want to get a shot of the plane with a blurry whatever, the pyramid in the background, I can actually do something like that. As seen there, you can mess with the blur level, figure it out, and go from there to get action shots. So, it's pretty cool for that. Yeah, for me, I don't really care for it one way or another. Now, as far as the last thing I want to note is, if you leave the actual camera under the wing as you're flying, it is in a fixed position based on the plane, but when the plane actually bounces up and down, turbulence or whatnot, you will actually see the wing go through the camera at times. So what I recommend, just something I do, is where if you want it to be realistic, obviously it has to be very close to the wing, because if you're on a hook up, it's going to be extremely close. But to prevent the thing from going up and down, because chances are it's not going to go up and down more than a couple, maybe a foot or two at most, with the current state of turbulence and whatnot, is just make sure it's down about level. And what you'll find is it tends to not ever go too far down where it doesn't pass the camera and it doesn't have a clip effect. Something else to note is with this, you can actually go through buildings, you can go through the actual aircraft itself. So if we wanted to, we can take a quick look. If I slow this thing down again, we can actually see parts of the aircraft that we normally would never have access to. Like for example, the back passenger seats. What do they see? The passenger seats, what do they see? And we can see stuff up here and even down to the pedals and stuff like that. Notes that you'll find that a lot of areas, like with the airliners, it's just blank. There's no detail into it. So that's something to note into yourself, that you're probably going to find a lot of disappointment if you're aiming for that. So that's something to note, is you can pass through buildings, you can pass through certain objects, but you cannot pass through ground itself. And it should be noted that if you're going ground level, you might want to go like angle like this, because if you go too far down, you will find bugs, quite a few bugs actually, where you'll find floating rocks and stuff like that, floating plants as you see there. So for example, with floating rocks, if we go right here, we can see a bunch of floating rocks. But if you're, something like this, it's kind of harder to notice. You'll see where cars and buses, sometimes they will, you see right through them at certain angles, not so much other angles. 2D effects, stuff like that. Like right here, where the inside of the tire is not really animated at all to any degree. So if you're down too far, you'll notice some certain problems like that. Cars floating, for example, right there. You got tires floating off the ground. Even parts missing altogether. But if you're up in the air like that, it tends to be a lot better and easier to deal with. So yeah, just something to note. Now, as far as that goes, that's pretty much about it. Again, take a look at the actual controls and whatnots, and you'll find very quickly how to do things. And feel free to leave a comment down below if you feel like I missed something out. And leave a like, subscribe, share, and check out my other videos. I do quite a few tutorials on this game, and I play others. But anyways, see you next video. Have a great day.